we should ignore all this. These are some low-level functionaries who are trying to get publicity to be holier than thou. To get a plan sanction, you have to have a bribe. To get any document, you have bribe. It's been going on, and now there seems to be much more. The media also will be watching. I'm sure you'll be watching. You're a Bengalurian. You've been all over the place, and you will also highlight these issues. Bangalore is the only city in the world, in India, where if you criticize the chief minister in the morning, in the afternoon, he'll call you for tea. A bad, flawed democracy is better than no democracy. Whatever happens in Bangalore is blown up all around the world.
Parts of Bengaluru continue to remain underwater, and even before the flood levels abate, there has been a political blame game that has been going on. Nobody wants to seem to take responsibility for Bengaluru's crumbling infrastructure. And one person who has been pointing out the issues with Bengaluru's urban infrastructure for a while now has been targeted by the ruling BJP. Mr. Mohandas Pai is joining me, and now he's being accused of being tarnishing Bengaluru's image, sir. You have always called yourself a proud Bengalurian. And now when some members of the ruling BJP are saying that you're tarnishing Bengaluru and Karnataka's image, what are your thoughts?
No, Pooja, we should ignore all this. These are some low-level functionaries who are trying to get publicity to be holier than thou and are trying to fling mud. We got to ignore them. 2 nights back, I saw on Twitter a video by our chief minister who had gone in the inspection of the flooded roads. And then he said he has inspected, he has seen the places where there have been illegal construction, where water is there. He's seen the condition of the road, is coming out of the plan, he's going to make it work, he's going to demolish all the illegal construction, etc. And that's very good. And yesterday, our IT minister, Shri Ashwath Narayan, had a meeting with everybody and he made promises. So I'm sure that both of them will make it work because they have taken the responsibility and they agreed and they'll make it work. I think that is good news. And you must remember, Pooja, that even for the NDA government in Delhi, Bangalore is the face of New India. All that the Prime Minister has been doing and speaking about New India is happening in Bangalore. And I'm sure he's also watching. We tweeted and requested his help. He's also watching. He's also seeing what is happening. So there's enough pressure in the government now. And I'm sure they'll do it. And our new chief minister is an entrepreneur and an engineer. He's not an ordinary chief minister who's been a politician. He understands engineering. He has gone and seen his own eyes. He understands it. And I'm sure we're all confident that he will do it. But what we requested, Pooja, is that today in Karnataka, we have a problem. In the last 20 years, Pooja, you know this, I met 5-6 chief ministers. All of them are positive at Bangalore. All of them will give money. We have met all the senior bureaucrats. They are positive. BBMP commissioner positive. But on the ground, it doesn't happen because of high corruption. Because the translation on the ground is, very difficult. And Bangalore is a big city. So we requested chief minister to have a committee headed by an additional chief secretary along with civic society who will review the progress of work every week and report to the public so that it actually happens.
You have spoken about bad governance as well as corruption quite frequently. Have you heard from industry insiders, your friends perhaps, or people complaining to you about how they have to pay bribes? What are the corruption horror stories that you've heard?
See, there is corruption in the BBMP. To get a plan sanction, you have to have a bribe. To get any document, you have bribe. It's been going on. And now there seems to be much more. There's corruption in the BDA. And the entire lower bureaucracy, large part of it has become corrupt. And the pollution control board has been very corrupt for a long period of time. There have been many complaints. We complained to the chief minister. We complained to everybody there. They promised to take action. So I think, they must, in Karnataka, they must do what Prime Minister Modi has done, sack some 50, 100 corrupt officials to send a message that his corruption cannot go on, right? Because there is no action taken against corrupt people. You must take action against corrupt people because you can't tolerate corruption. Many of these people are telling us that they paid money to come to the post. And they paid money earlier. I don't know when. This is not done from whatever we know in the current chief minister's reign. I mean, there's no evidence to say anybody has done that. But they make these comments. And we have met the chief minister. We have told him. And I think that's something that he is looking at, hopefully, and he'll correct.
We've seen floods several times in Bengaluru before, and I fear this might not be the last time we'll see floods. What makes you optimistic that this time will be different?
Well, I think the only thing that makes me optimistic is the chief minister has gone on the inspection. He's walked on the road and he's promised openly he's going to do it. and there's an election coming in the next 6-8 months. So people are going to ask, you make this promise, what happened? And of course, we're not going to have floods in the next 6-8 months. It'll only happen in the next monsoon, isn't it? So it's not going to happen. And everybody will be watching. And we are very enthused at the media coverage. The media also will be watching. I'm sure you'll be watching. You're a Bengalurian. You've been all over the place. And you will also highlight these issues. See, Pooja, we are a representative democracy. Our political leaders are not our masters. They are our representatives. As citizens, we have a duty to stand up and to point out to them when things go wrong. They have to take the feedback in the strides and remedy the situation, because they are there to do public service. They are our representatives. So I think this feedback is very important. In Bangalore, it happens. You know, Pooja, Bangalore is the only city in the world, in India, where if you criticize the chief minister in the morning, in the afternoon, he'll call you for tea. You know, it's happened several times here. You know that. You've been party to that, right? So we have a good culture here. So if some lower level officials, write some letters, party people write some letters, make some nasty comments, you just have to ignore it. So what keeps us enthused is the commitment of the chief minister. He is the topmost authority in the state, and he has personally committed on record, on video. So we are all very hopeful.
I noticed that you've spoken about the involvement of civic society. I just want to know from you how important will be the citizens' involvement going forward to ensure that people don't forget once the monsoon is over and it's business back to normal after this.
Pooja, the tragedy about Indians and our cities is citizens are not participating adequately in the political process. They must understand politicians respond to the electorate. They respond to the voters. They are responsive. How many people have met their MLA and the MP? How many people have met their ward councillors? How many people have taken the trouble to write to them, say they want, they will do the work. We must put enough pressure. We must spend 5-10% of our time on community affairs to improve the community where we live. We cannot be guests sitting in, enclosed enclaves. If you are in gated enclaves, like it happened in Epsilon, once the flood comes, nobody cares for you because you are not been a part of society. You kept away. These gated communities are not the right thing for a society like ours. Whom are you keeping away from your gates? Correct? You want security, but that we must get this attitude. We must live together. We must talk to government. We must meet them. And Pooja, we must all give money to our political parties for the election. See, Pooja, the problem is bad money is coming into politics. Crooked people are coming into politics. They buy the seat, they spend money, try to buy the voter, they come to power. And the educated middle class and everybody who crib all the time, they don't go and vote. Democracy is a system of competitive lobbies. There's a caste lobby, there's a religious lobby, there is a lobby of contractors, there are all kinds of lobbies. Where the lobby of the middle class? And we must give money to political parties because democracy is expensive. If bad money comes in, bad people come in, we see what is happening. If good money comes in, all of us give some money, 5 rupees, 10 rupees, 100 rupees, whatever. We show our commitment. And many good people enter politics, things will improve, especially at the local level, right? At the local level, what do we want? Good roads, good drainage, water in the tap, public lighting and safety and mobility. That's all we want, right? And we should get it from our ward councillors. We pay our taxes. So we need to interact more. And we have to accept society belongs to us, city belongs to us, we have to do it. I think that's the big lacuna.
I want to ask you, do you think it's high time we hold the BBMP elections? For 2 years, there's been no elected council in the city.
Yes, a bad democracy is better than no democracy. A bad, flawed democracy is better than no democracy. We are not a democracy. You know why, Pooja? The ward councillors were treating the wards as the personal property, making money by beating up people and taking money for any permission, any building license. So all the legislators are very upset. That's what many people told me. Okay. So when the chance came to do away, they do away. They're the ones putting pressure on the government not to have the ward election because they are powerful today. Now they are doing it. I know 2 or 3, MLAs who are extorting money from real estate people in Bangalore. One of them went to a place and shut down the place by sending his goons for 15 days. When they complained to the police, the inspector did not do anything. They complained to the higher police people. They called up the inspector, nothing happened. They called up the political party bosses. They spoke to the MLA, nothing happened. I mean, this is absurd. It happened in Bangalore.
Right. You spoke about
we need elections. In the city corporation, we need ward councillors, we need more accountability, we need urban reforms, we need Bangalore to have 5 corporations with full-time mayors so that the gap between citizens and local government diminishes.
You spoke about gated communities. Now, one of the accusations that people in government are throwing at these IT parks and gated communities that they have encroached wetlands, and this is a result of that because the rest of the city is not so badly flooded. How do you respond? What is the way forward? Can we actually demolish all the encroachments? Is that a
Pooja,
possibility?
who is responsible for the enforcement of the law? The same bureaucrats. Who is responsible for giving building permission? The same bureaucrats. Who is responsible for giving occupancy certificate? The same bureaucrats. What are they doing? It's very easy for people in Vidhan Sabha to sit back and pass the buck and say, oh, they encroach. What are you doing, man? Why don't you go inspect and demolish? This whole city is run by you, correct? Why are your officials taking bribes? Correct? They must ask the question, where is the enforcement of the law? And if they enforce the law, people scream and shout, so be it. Correct? I mean, look, government has to take responsibility for governing. They can't sit quiet and moan and go, oh, nobody listening to us. I mean, why should they be in government?
Is there a real threat to brand Bengaluru, the way you see it?
The brand, Pooja, the brand is hurt because whatever happens in Bangalore is blown up all around the world. Bangalore is a very important global city. The brand is hurt. The world is watching how will government respond and how government responses. For example, today in San Francisco, you got all those homeless people shitting on the streets, making the street messy, going to shops, uplifting and all that, correct? It's hurting the city, right? The world is seeing. The world sees what happens. The world will give some time to rectify. And if you don't rectify things bad, the world will go somewhere. They're all watching. So it's important for the Chief Minister and others to make sure that Bangalore's brand is redeemed, the infrastructure work is improved, and things are much better than they were. And also, a metro is behind schedule. The metro there on the outer ring road is a mess. They're blocking all the road, doing all kind. We need a better metro management too, as happened in Delhi, where they ran the metro very well.
So if you were to give 3 suggestions to the government on how infrastructure can be improved, what would they be? 1,
drop a list of all the infrastructure work that is stalled up, infrastructure to be done, and commit money to getting it done. 2nd, set up a monitoring committee to make sure that proper tenders are done, proper execution is done, and do a proper reporting. Okay, and fund it. And the 3rd, review the metro progress every month to make sure the metro is done on time. Commit to the metro execution so the metro will take away a lot of load from the roads, and also make sure you expand the BMRTC, the bus service, from 6,000 buses to 10,000 buses. All this may require 3,000 or 4,000 crores. The money is there. It's a very rich state. It's not a shortage of money. It's a shortage of execution. It's a shortage of supervision. That's the problem here. Not a shortage of money.
Right. My last question before I let you go is, there is IT companies have also written to the government saying that if the infrastructure does not improve, they may look at relocating perhaps to Hyderabad, to some other part of the city. How real is this threat? What are you hearing from your sources in the industry?
No, I think it's very real because they're angry and upset because they've been talking about the outer ring road for a long period of time. Nothing much has happened. Some things have happened, but inadequate. You understand? See, Pooja, that entire road has some of the best companies in the world. Go see the names on the name board. It has 10 lakh people who are employed in that particular area. Any city in the world, any country in the world will give whatever is required to make those companies come and give employment. They give employment to our young people, to our youngsters. Aren't you happy that they give employment? At least make the road and the traffic better. What are they asking? They're not asking you a favor. They're asking for the rights to infrastructure. And if you don't do that, won't they get angry? I mean, the insensitivity of Vidhan Sabha to this area is astounding. I mean, people of Vidhan Sabha seem to think that they're all coming here because we are a great state, we are God's own creature. We are not. We are a good city. A lot of good people are here. People are coming here. We must treat them well. We want more jobs for the young people. We want more revenues to the state. We want the state to develop. They're giving you jobs, for God's sake. We improve the infrastructure.
Right. Right. I hope your message is loud and clear to those in ruling at every level today. I thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining, and we hope to see infrastructure getting better over the next few days. Thank you.
Keep an eye on Bangalore, Pooja. Okay. And as the media, tell us how things are happening. Tell all of us so that we'll all work together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.